It's the Raw Meat Podcast, the most mediocre wrestling podcast on the internet. With the smart Greg Adams, the nature boy Jay Whatley, and the hardcore icon Puff.
It's the Raw Meat Podcast with Greg Adams, Puff, and Jay Whatley. It is our two-part ordeal here. We're going to get to draft coverage in a minute because we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the draft. But what we have to knock out right away is to get to our predictions for this Sunday night Battleground, the next pay-per-view up. And Jay, I brought this for you.
What? Oh,
because I know
that the belt? Oh.
You are appreciative of the fact that I'm on a 1, 2, 3 pay-per-view winning streak.
Bull crap, man. I demand recounts on all three right now.
3 pay-per-view win streak. Right,
I think
Puffers?
I could have argued my way into at least being tied with you on the last couple ones, you know.
On the last one, but the one before
arguments.
The one before I was 100% correct, and then the last one, I think Puff actually was the one who had the tie.
Yep.
But the tiebreaker goes to the champ.
I got something for you guys on this one.
All right.
I got Battleground figured out.
All right.
You probably do.
We will we will jump right into that because we're on a time crunch for Jay and his real life job. So we want to get all of the picks out of the way in enough time so there's no controversy. I want no controversy.
There's always controversy when Jay's involved, but okay. We'll do our best.
All right, so we're going to pick the matches that we have on the official card as of today. If there are changes to take place between now and the pay-per-view, we will either strike it from the record or a change like whoever Sasha's partner is will not have an implication on the pick that you make. Everyone in agreement?
Agreed.
Sure.
Okay, no controversy. We're going to start with the Becky Lynch and Natalya match, and on my sheet, Puff, my official scorecard, I have you going first, so who do you have in this matchup?
I got the Irish last kicker.
Becky Lynch.
Ha-ha.
I got that written down. I also have Becky Lynch on my sheet. And Jay, who do you have?
Ooh, do I have a chance right off the gate to make up? No, I don't. I have Becky Lynch.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting one to pick because with the draft taking place and so many people on different brands now, a lot of the storylines that have led up into this may not have anything after this.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
It's kind of going to be odd to pick some of these. On my sheet, on the way that I have this laid out, and I don't remember where I got the card from for this Sunday. I don't know if this will actually be how the matchups are set up once the pay-per-view starts. But the second match that I have on my list is The Miz defending the Intercontinental Championship against Darren Young. Jay, we'll start with you.
Okay, I am going to go with The Miz. So I don't think that they would give Darren Young 2 victories in a row.
I actually have The Miz as well on mine. Puff, are we 3 for 3 again?
I actually have Darren Young.
Wow. Okay. Do you have rationale?
I do, but we'll get to that on our next pick.
Oh.
Because they're tied together.
Okay. Well, I think then we'll just go straight into that because I don't have any. I
think we're going to go 2 for 3 again on this next one then, Puff, if you're going where I think you're going.
Yep.
All right. Well, the next one is Rusev defending his U.S. Championship against Zack Ryder. And
I think the titles are switching brands. So I think Zack Ryder wins that match, Darren Young wins his match, and the titles flippy-flop.
All of the titles?
Not all of them.
Just those 2, I think, is what he's saying. So the IC belt and the U.S. belt will flip shows. I kind of get that and kind of like that, but I don't think they're smart enough to do that. So I'm taking Rusev in this matchup to retain.
Yeah, I think if a realistic one of those 2 matches realistically you could see a belt switch, it would be the Intercontinental. There's no way in hell that they let Rusev lose to Zack Ryder. It ain't happening.
You said
and you better get used to seeing Rusev with that belt because he ain't letting it go.
So
Rusev, no doubt.
Yeah,
that might be the truest pick on the whole card.
Well, see, I think Zack Ryder wins barely, like maybe referee quick count or something like that, and he wins, blah, blah, blah. Belt goes over, and then down the road, Rusev takes out all of his anger on the poor Darren Young, who now has the Intercontinental Championship, and Rusev becomes IC champ. Like, because he can't get his hands on Zack Ryder for retribution, so he just sees gold and goes straight after Darren Young, who he thinks is defenseless, and just kills him.
I do think that they are actually going to keep the belts where they are on this one.
Maybe.
I think the Intercontinental belt will remain on SmackDown because what we noticed as the picks were being made last night is the Gold Rush all went to Raw. Like, all of the gold is on Raw. The only two things right now that are sitting with SmackDown are the IC belt and the WWE belt. And the WWE belt's null and void when Raw either gets that belt back onto that show or debuts their own belt, which I think we're all in agreement that's happening. They're going to be 2 heavyweight championship belts again. So I think that the belts stay where they are because I think the IC belt means more than the US. So I think having that on SmackDown kind of helps balance that out. Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Sasha and a partner of her choosing.
Ooh.
Jay.
Well, you know what I've said every single podcast we've done, I've picked against Charlotte, and I've lost every single time.
Join the club.
But I'm picking against her once again because this is the time, no doubt. Forget about it.
I remember
They're
all
gonna
of
let
those
her
times.
lose one day.
All those times that you picked against her, and I think the last time there was like a tag match or a non-title match.
That's the only reason that
we all picked against her at that point, thinking that was the reason they did it, is so that she could lose without the belt being on the line.
Yep.
Belt's not on the line this time, and I'm also gonna pick against Charlotte.
There you go.
I'm gonna pick Sasha.
Puppy?
I'm in the same boat,
All
but I don't
right.
think Charlotte gets the loss. I think it's Dana Brooke, and that's going to cause a blow up between those two.
Are we picking partner here?
Now, I want to do this, yes, because as we have already in the past run into with ties, want to try to have a tiebreaker in place. So our tiebreaker, this will not count against the overall score unless we get into a tie and then potentially can break that tie. Who do you pick as Sasha's mystery partner? And if you get it right, it'll be the tiebreaker. Jay, do you have anybody in mind?
I have no clue. So this is the worst tiebreaker for me. So I'm gonna go with the girl that everyone wanted to see last night that didn't see, and everyone was mad about not seeing her. And I'm gonna go with Bailey, just because.
Okay,
about
Puff,
that?
do you have any logical choice?
I'm going to go with Alicia Fox. I don't think it's going to be any surprises. I don't think it's going to be anyone important. So,
My gut wants to go with the pick that I think I'm going to make, but I actually want to agree with you, and that it would be Bailey.
Be cool.
There was a lot of rumor online that WWE is passing out hugger section signs on seats, and they were all the VIP seats. There were multiple pictures that were circulating online that was happening, so it made it feel like she was getting drafted last night. Then she doesn't get drafted.
that was some a-hole with a printer who put that in his little poster board sign and was jacking with folks.
The other thing is that when they showed the graphic last night on SmackDown, that silhouette looked way too much like Bailey to be anybody else.
It didn't have a stupid side ponytail.
What did the butt of the silhouette look like?
But I'm going to predict that it's
was out of
somebody
frame.
else. I'm going to predict that we see...
Looked like she had an inner tube around her.
here we go.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm picking Nia Jax. I think that Sasha will go get her enforcer because, like we saw last night on SmackDown, and it's been brought up a couple of times, Sasha's not the biggest. With Alexa Bliss now being drafted, she's no longer the smallest, but she's the second smallest diva. So if you're going to take on a fitness model who has compared to Sasha Banks, Dana Brooke has Hulk Hogan type pythons.
Yeah, but you think Nia
you're
Jax
right,
is
too.
going to not be heel?
No, I think she will be, and I think that's what they're going to try to do with Sasha. I think they're going to
Interesting
try to
thought.
have a Sasha Nia Jax alliance that is not quite heel. I want to go shades of gray here, anti-hero, because Sasha's character is essentially an anti-hero anyway. She goes around and makes fun of people.
Yeah, I like that pick, Greg. I think you got a good one there.
That's a solid choice.
Well,
So-
it makes too much sense. She just got
They're both
drafted
on
last
Raw.
night. Yeah.
And it probably won't play into this at all because I'm going to mop the floor with you guys on your picks. So
that's
Probably.
let's get to the fun one though. The next,
We've guessed the same way the entire time so far, so you ain't
Well,
mopping
except for
nothing.
me.
No, I meant me and Greg.
this is going to be an
Greg
issue.
ain't- Greg
I
ain't
have
doing nothing.
I have the feeling you're
Hey.
cheating off me, aren't you?
Totally.
Melina, stop.
So somebody's got to, throw a curveball in there. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I'm just,
All right,
going against
Sami
you two.
Zayn, Kevin Owens. this is not going to be the end of this feud because unlike what every prediction that I have seen said that they were going to be separated on two different brands, so we didn't get bored of this didn't get stale, which could play into one of your theories. We can get to this more in the draft, but if you're going to have a trade between brands, one of these two is probably going to be involved in
Or
that.
if you want to build a unsteady alliance and make someone a tag team.
No, I think what you would see is what you see Steph or Mick getting upset over the constant Peter Griffin versus chicken fighting that takes place between these two, and they say, we just got to get rid of one of them. I'm shipping them off, and then they trade them for peanuts.
See, I'd like to see, just on a side note, as a punishment, those two get forced together as a tag team, and it'd be like the Shawn Michaels Stone Cold Tag Team Championship reign, where they hated each other, they beat the hell out of each other after the match, but they still won because they're awesome.
All right, so they're going to beat the hell out of each other as foes and not partners. I think you went last. Why don't I go first?
Yeah, you go
this
first,
time around?
Greg.
Yeah.
This might be interesting for some, but I'm going to pick Sami Zayn. My gut on this one originally said pick Kevin Owens because they're going to be on the same brand, and so you extend the rivalry. But I think Sami Zayn gets the win here through potentially disqualification, which I think is how you further this. You end up getting Kevin Owens upset, hits him with a chair, does something. You get the Kevin Owens loss by DQ. Sami Zayn is your winner.
See, I am picking Kevin Owens because what I think is good, because Kevin Owens' whole story is, well, Sami Zayn got picked up by NXT before me. Screw him. Sami Zayn got called up before me. Screw him. Sami Zayn, so this just continues that because Sami Zayn was picked ahead of Kevin Owens in the draft. Kevin finally needs his win over his archenemy at least once. Every once in a while, the Joker beats or outsmarts Batman.
Yeah, I think Kevin Owens wins as well.
Okay, There we go. Now we have a separation
there we
with
go.
us now. Now I feel good about this. This one might even bring some separation. New Day versus the Wyatt family. Belts not online. 6-man tag match. Puff, where are you going with this one?
I'm taking the Wyatts, and I think the Wyatts are taking Xavier.
I don't want to make that bet on the side of this one.
Oh, no. It's not a side bet, but I think that's how they win is the fight's going on. It's hardcore. New Day looks like they have the edge, and much like last night during SmackDown, Bray does his magic on Xavier, except this time he can't fight it off. Xavier turns on his New Day partners. They go down. They lose.
I agree with that.
Really?
Wholeheartedly.
You got Wyatts.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if the Xavier move is happening tomorrow or this pay-per-view or not, but it's definitely happening.
Well, if it's going to happen,
eventually.
it has to happen Sunday.
Which kind of makes sense because
The way it's setting up, the way they've set this up to this point, something's got to go down.
I think it's like Saturday they hit the number where they are now the longest reigning tag team champions, not only collectively but in one run.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were to have something that destroys them, hell, Xavier leaves leaves for the Wyatt family on Sunday, and then Monday on Raw they face off with the club and end up dropping the belts or something.
Yeah.
So it kind of sets up that way. But
And WWE has a history of, hey, we want our guys to have the longest reign, but as soon as they get that record, they drop the belts. Guess who's currently 3 days away from having the longest tag team title reign?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But there's also something that WWE has a long history of enjoying, and that's money.
Well,
Especially when it comes from merchandise.
Well-
like light up unicorn horns and boxes of cereal with T-shirts in them and all the other things that New Day sells.
Yeah.
I don't think.
But I think an underdog story of them trying to get back their long-lost friend would help them sell more
Yeah, I do
merch,
too.
if that's even possible.
I think with that turn where they lose in that way and Xavier is switched, I think they can still. I don't think they lose anything off of that.
Oh
what
my
they
God,
lose is the mouthpiece.
No. Imagine the bit of them using the quote-unquote power of positivity to try to draw back Xavier from the
great.
dark side.
It'd be great.
I think it would work better if it were Kofi that ends up
Yeah.
leaving, and then you have Xavier doing that. But I don't think that Kofi or Big E have the mic skills to pull this off.
Oh, don't be sour, Greg.
So
It's the power of
I'm
the New
taking
Day.
New Day. New day to win, new day to retain, and you know
it's
what?
It's gonna be bad losing that belt on such a. This is the easiest card to pick, and you are just throwing the belt away, man. Throwing it away.
All right. So maybe if you think that one is that easy, you'll think this one is even easier. John Cena, Enzo Amore, Big Cass versus Anderson and Gallows and AJ Styles. The Club versus the Certified G's. What do you think, Jay?
So, see, this one's tough because in the back of my mind, I'm looking at that Raw roster. I'm looking at the Club chilling. I'm looking at Finn Balor hanging out over there. And part of me wants to even somehow include Finn into this, which is what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think Finn Balor is going to cost the Club the match. The Club loses to John Cena and Enzo Amore, but they lose. But in losing, they join sides with Finn Balor.
And
now,
they beat
AJ
up John
Styles
Cena.
is literally on an island all by himself in heel babyface land. So Finn Balor cost the Club the match just to join the Club or to take over the Club. Boom. Roasted.
So Finn Balor cost them the match.
Yes.
By
taking out AJ Styles. He's there to remove AJ Styles. He's there to take over the Club. But they don't win. I know it. It's beautiful.
I like the Finn Balor showing up to take over the Club aspect.
Yes, it's his club now.
But I don't know that he does it when the match is happening, I guess. Like, maybe after the match, there's a celebration, he comes in, and kind of the way they've done it in New Japan whenever there's a new
that's
Bullet
Well, that
Club
don't
match.
matter because I'm picking John Cena and Enzo Amore and Big Cass. So that's my pick. So it don't matter.
Okay.
All that other stuff doesn't matter. That's my pick.
I'm picking Cena as well because I think that it's just they're building Enzo and Cass so hard right now that you need this win to certify them as G's in the John Cena way. I just think that you've got too much babyface power on one side to have them lose this, especially going into the brand split. It just doesn't make sense. You're not building them, and they can't.
And they're fighting literally a group that is literally that after that pay-per-view, they will never be together again on network television.
Well, barring any trades or anything else crazy that happens. I, on the other hand, am picking the Club. This is their last hurrah. And I think we do see Balor, the New Japan celebration. Everybody's happy. Finn Balor comes out and starts pounding on Cena, and everybody's too sweetening it up. And then all of a sudden, Balor comes around and hits AJ with, like, what's that move, the 1968 or whatever the hell he calls it?
1916.
I like the way that looks in my
Bloody
mind.
Sunday, as it used to be called, Irish Revolution or Bloody Spring, whatever it was.
I can never keep up with whatever the hell he's calling it. But
yeah, well, I can't understand half the words he says.
Well, that's true.
So, what? Part of me wants to change my pick right now.
Nope, it's on the record.
All right, I will leave it as Team Cena, which brings us to the final pick, the triple threat match.
Yes.
Dean Ambrose defending his WWE Championship against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose to retain.
I think for this time, since in the previous reiterations of the draft, SmackDown got the new belt and all that, I think this time Raw gets all the new stuff.
Okay.
I have Ambrose as well.
Wow. All right.
Yep. I think something fishy's going to go down, though.
I think something fishy is absolutely going to go down, which is why I think that Seth Rollins is going to leave with the championship. But I think he's going to do it in a slimeball, sleazy, cheat way. It may not even be he that is responsible for it.
Yeah.
It may be an official with a fast count or some kind of submission. Maybe he puts somebody in a figure four. Not that I've ever seen him actually do that, or like a sharpshooter, and there's like a no tap screw job of some kind
Something
that
fishy.
Stephanie engineers. And then Shane's retaliation to that on Tuesday is, okay, look, they stole that one from you. You're still the champ. Here's your new belt.
See, I thought about that.
I like that.
But I think if anyone does anything sleazy or dirty, it's going to be Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Which that one also kind of played into my mind, too. If you're going to have the Authority kind of reassemble between Stephanie and Seth, why not have Roman become the enforcer and have finally the Die Rocky Die promo that we've waited for, where he says, look, I gave you all a chance. I wanted to be your guy. You rejected me. now this guy is my guy, and I'm going to do everything to support him. And maybe it's a long game. Maybe eventually it's all this work where he diesels the brain fart on one of the greatest Heartbreak Kids,
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. He diesels Shawn Michaels.
I've never heard of that guy.
I
Never heard
was
of him
waiting
before.
for you to pull it out.
Yeah, no,
Is
it's
he an NXT guy?
It lost. It went away completely. Just
TNA.
gone.
Oh, TNA guy.
Yeah,
That's
TNA guy. So Roman just, like stands in the background and allows Seth to believe that he's safe and makes him feel good about it. And then next thing you know, chair shot to the back of the head and Roman takes the belt from him. That's all down the road. I think the way they set it up now, though, is they get the belt, they get a new belt in Dean's hands by screwing him out and Seth Rollins leaving as the man. And maybe it's at the hands of Roman Reigns, or maybe it's at the hands of a Charles Robinson. If that match starts and Charles Robinson is the official, you got to start to know that something is going on.
Yeah.
That is kind of a good call.
So I guess that's the pick.
Too bad that pick can't save you from your horrendous card of picks.
I don't think that's horrendous at all. I think
I think everything you said was pretty bad, besides the ones you agree with me on.
I think this is a really good card as far as anything can happen. So
I'm going on vacation this weekend,
Yes.
which means that I won't be in the office Monday. I wonder if I should leave this belt.
Oh, you
yeah,
better
totally.
leave it. You
don't
better
pack
leave
that
it.
bitch up. We're
no.
one of us are taking it
Hang
home.
it from the ceiling. I'll get a ladder.
All right, that's gonna be our picks.
All right, I'm out.
Yeah, you're gonna roll, and we're gonna do just a quick five minutes maybe, because a lot of the reaction to this, I would want to do more on the draft if we felt like we knew more, which is kind of how I've talked about this leading up to it, where I wanted structure, wanted to know what was going on and why things were happening. We didn't really get any of that last night. What we got was a lot of rapid-fire picks. We got a lot of things that don't make sense in kayfabe, but do make sense, I guess, if you're talking about the industry and how NXT is structured. What really stuck out to you as either a big, not surprise, but a big, they got that right, or a big, they got that wrong?
Well, everybody's talking about, I'm disappointed in the NXT picks. I nailed 5 out of 6. The only one I didn't get was Carmella, because looking at it logically moving forward, as all three brands moving forward, you can't just rip everybody's assets away from them just because you're having a draft. They'll work those guys in over the next 6 to 8 months as people, they have their summer firings and all that good stuff. So I don't think
Did you just refer to firings as good stuff?
Well, I mean, it's something that happens every year. It's an annual thing. We know it's coming. Ryback's sure as hell getting fired post SummerSlam. Probably a few others. So I'm just saying, they're slowly going to start working other guys in. The thing that surprised me most is that they didn't flop the Balor Charlotte pick. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, Finn went so high. I thought he should have won higher.
No, I think they made a point, and I think that could have actually been the bargaining chip in why Mick Foley said he would come back, no matter how limited this is. Because again, last night we saw flashes of Foley and Stephanie clearly not getting along for the purposes of the story. I think those two are pretty amicable in real life. Everybody honestly loves Steph in real life. She just does it so well on TV.
Oh yeah, she's great.
But the things that really stuck out to me, Finn Balor going in the first round and John Cena not going in the first round, like when we drew it up here, when we were talking about it, we both expected Finn Balor to be pretty high. Did I expect him to go over John Cena? No. Did I expect AJ Styles to go over John Cena? No. Those are two picks that I thought would have been flipped.
See, I called both of those during our mock draft. Not necessarily on the right show or in the right order, but I had them right.
Right, and that's ultimately, we were all too correct when it came to the draft. How about that? The fact that you can sit there and say that you nailed so many of these picks and got it so correct is actually the problem. Well, that's exactly what the problem is.
Well, I did. So many others got it wrong. But you have to look at, like I said, you have to look at the big picture. If you blow your entire load at once, you're stuck without a carrot at the end of the stick down the road.
But
if you
no,
meet
we could have sat down and taken this list of the guys who got drafted exactly to the brands they got drafted to, and we could sit here and write out an order in this draft that would have been far more compelling than what we ended up with. And the way that they executed it too, having the first 5 picks all take place within what felt like 90 seconds, no room to breathe. It felt like as soon as one graphic was done, the other was up. It would have been so much better to give them a moment. And to have John Cena come out and fight his match, like to have his music hit and he walks out on stage between the general managers and then goes and has a match and then gets drafted, it felt like such a waste of an opportunity. There were a couple of matches that didn't need to take place last night. You could have had John Cena get drafted, his music hits, everyone has their pop and reaction, especially since they're right outside of Boston. He walks out, gets his SmackDown shirt, maybe puts it on or just shakes hands and does like the NFL style thing. He goes over, shakes hands with Daniel Bryan, they take some pictures, and he goes into the back. It would have taken 30 seconds, 90 seconds per pick, maybe.
See, I like just the way it was. I'd rather not see any of that. It's just a waste.
It's not a waste. It makes it feel more real. The aspect of like, boom, 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 let's pretend like we don't know what we're doing. And we talked about wanting a little bit of that, oh, well, if you do that, then I'm going to do this. We saw some of that, but it wasn't enough. It's like they did that a couple of times, and then they went back to, oh, where are we at on the script? Oh, here we are on the script. One of the things that we did call on the podcast that did take place, the back-to-back Raw picks of Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and they did it early, and they did it quietly, and they got it out of the way, and then just moved the hell on.
You know what? I've just to pause there a moment. Roman, when he got drafted, got booed, like loud boos. The difference is when Brock got drafted, it was Suplex City. People were going nuts.
But nobody's booing Roman Reigns. Well, okay. Most of those boos are not on Roman Reigns because of the failed drug test.
Well, it's just because Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns.
Exactly. What has amplified the boos is that all those people who were cheering for him were the "it's still real to me" people who still believed that he was some kind of superhero who was winning all of these matches legitimately, and now they're upset because he was winning them because he was using something. Like, you got women and children who are now booing him, which were his only defenders in those boos. Now they're booing on top of the other boos that already existed. Those boos are going to be really loud this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just to go back to the John Cena pick, I kind of like where he got drafted for one reason. It's symbolically John Cena saying, hey, I'm still going to be around, I'm still going to be an entertainer, but it's time for me to let someone else take over, which I do.
Well, if that was the case, then he would have been drafted even further down. But we talked about, and everybody talked about, and the way they even positioned it was that SmackDown is the show of the future. It's a new era. It's going to be where you come to see your underground internet sensation stars. Your NXT guys are going to come up. They got bamboozled out of the NXT pick because they took AJ Styles, who, yeah, okay, sure, fine. First 2 picks, you got the guy who has the belt. Fine, that's cool. AJ Styles does kind of represent the new era in a way, but he's not a young guy. And then he followed it up with John Cena and Randy Orton. 2 guys who are part-timers, who have been around for a decade and a half, and you're building the new era with those guys.
Well, Randy Orton still is technically a young man. I think he's still younger than AJ.
He's younger than AJ because AJ's the same age as Cena.
He just got it up there so early. And, you know, as far as Dean Ambrose goes, he hasn't really been around that long. I mean, he's,
no,
what, 2,
and that's
3
why I
years?
said, like, Dean Ambrose is fine. Like, I get that one.
Well, I just saw a lot of people bitching online, like, I don't know why they would take somebody that's been up there. Come on. A lot of these guys they picked haven't been around that long.
Look at how this keeps going, though. Bray Wyatt has been around for a little while now.
Yeah, but he was still an NXT guy. He's still young. He hasn't really done much.
The Miz?
Well, they just were like, I hate to do it, but we need gold.
Dolph Ziggler?
A guy that they said it was a land of the way they positioned SmackDown. It was the land of the new era, and for people getting opportunities.
Natalia,
who's been buried more than Dolph Ziggler?
Alberto Del Rio,
another guy that deserves another push.
Demon Kane.
That was a Daniel Bryan thing.
Naomi, Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder, another guy that needs more opportunity. Who is kind of fits the new era model, even though he's been there for a decade.
I mean, when you get down towards the back half of this, SmackDown did get, three? They get 4 NXT. They got 4 NXT picks overall. So 4 of the 6 did end up going to. I'm only counting 5 now. Where's my 5th NXT?
You got
pick?
Carmella, Mojo.
Both went to SmackDown. So did Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss, that was the other one.
So that's 3. And then you have. Oh, I know who I'm missing. Nia Jax, I think.
Mm-hmm. 2 of them went to Raw, and the rest of them went to SmackDown.
Right. So you did get a good chunk of NXT, but you didn't get the high-end NXT, the Finn Balor.
Well, you got Baron Corbin.
And you got Baron Corbin, and you got Apollo Crews. You got Becky Lynch.
Who, again, is relative. Even though she's been in the spotlight for a long time, she hasn't really been there. It just seems longer than
I didn't count her in my mix of the old people that they got, like, still, Demon Kane. Like, I just don't enjoy that they positioned it as going to be the new show, the young talent. And, like, some of the young talent that you did put together is the Ascension, Apollo Crews.
Well, you got the
Breezango, the Vaudevillains.
I like Breezango. I don't think they're going to go anywhere long term, but I do enjoy watching them perform. You need comedy relief in your show.
This actually just made me think of something as I look over this right now. How many tag teams went to SmackDown?
Well, you know, eventually they're going to get the Hype Bros together. That's going to happen. That's going to be a thing. They got American Alpha. I know that. Who else did they get?
So here's what I see right now. Yeah, I've got Usos, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Usos, the Ascension, Breezango, the Vaudevillains, and American Alpha. That could be...
And the Hype Bros, like I said, you know they're going to get together eventually.
That is so weak. Not that the SmackDown or the Raw tag teams are going to be much better. The tag teams are so shallow right now. That was they should have all been on one show.
Well, like I said, just because you didn't get drafted together doesn't mean you can't make a team. Some of the best teams in history were quote-unquote happenstance occurrences. The Rock and Sock connection, Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. I mean, the list goes...
But you can't really start grabbing a bunch of these guys and start making random tag teams for the sake of tag teams because you don't have a deep enough roster.
Sure you do. I mean, Dean Ambrose, you could take the title off of, put it on AJ, and then you could have like a weird tag team with Ambrose out of like some storyline that you create, which would be, you know, all right. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do.
I mean, realistically, unless you start grabbing some of these old guys and putting them into a title picture, you don't have a lot of guys to create a title picture around if you're going to keep a title on that show because you've got Dean with the belt now. AJ can clearly be in that. Bray can get his run finally.
Mm-hmm. You got Cena, who can break...
But Cena's already talked about. Well, I don't think that's happening.
Or tie it.
I really don't think they're going to let that happen.
Alberto Del Rio.
You got Alberto Del Rio, and you've got Dolph Ziggler, who are guys who could hold that belt. But it's kind of shallow. Baron Corbin may get up to that point, but Baron Corbin's probably better suited to beat The Miz for the IC belt at some point.
Even if that's where they go, is he takes the title, IC or US, whatever happens to be on the show at come Monday, you still got guys like not Jack Swagger, who was I looking at? Apollo Crews, who may not win but can still put on a good match and be in contention. I mean, you have a lot of guys that could be multifaceted use in multiple different areas.
I'm not comfortable with where we ended up last night, because I don't see their picture. And I haven't seen their picture since WrestleMania, I don't think. I started to feel good because I thought we were going to see more. And maybe after next Tuesday, we know more about how this is going to structure. Because we're going to get a chance to see how the pay-per-view wraps up. Could get some more surprises.
I don't think that happens till after SummerSlam.
Well, no, I think you could. Jay brought up that point about Bayley showing up. That could totally happen.
No, it's not.
Because you also have Heath Slater, who went undrafted, so you have a roster slot that...
Oh, by the way, he's gone on a Twitter campaign saying that he's the wild card, and you never know what he's going to do, and there's a video. It's pretty funny.
All right, well, I will have to go check that out, but I don't want to say any more on the draft until after we get to see the pay-per-view and the first show of both brands with the new rosters.
Well, here's the thing I said before the draft. The draft always sucks because unless you have an entire roster full of top talent, you're always gonna put yourself in a bad position.
Here's what I don't like. I don't like to be the guy who perpetually says they just did that poorly, or I don't like what they did. I don't want to always be the negative guy. I want to be the positive guy. I want to say I'm really enjoying what they're doing right now, and I get to say that with one thing here or there, but for the most part, they come so close. Like last night, we talked about after Monday night and how epic that was. If they did last night right, it would have been one of the greatest nights of pro wrestling history. They were right there. All they had to do was step across the threshold and assume their position, and they didn't do it.
I don't think they did a bad job. They did what they did with the talent they have.
And maybe that's the thing. They didn't do a bad job, but they stopped short of greatness, which always seems like they're afraid to do something great because they know they'll have to duplicate it again.
Well, the other thing is, too, yeah, you could have done, brought up Nakamura and got that huge reaction, blah, blah, but then you ruin something that you're already putting together that will build probably into something that leads post SummerSlam. So you have to look at the big picture and be like, all right, do we want to rush this or do we want to take our time and make sure we don't put anyone in an awkward situation?
We could continue to talk about this for another hour, but I don't think we should. So we're going to wrap things up. We will, I hope you guys will do at least some form of recap after the pay-per-view next week and then rub it in my face. I don't care if it's just the two of you going, wow, how terrible is he? He sucks so bad.
Jay barely shows up when all of us are here.
That is true.
I'll be here doing a podcast by myself.
That thought has crossed my mind. But we are the Raw Meat Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and if you're listening on YouTube, hit that little subscribe button, and then every time we upload a new episode, you will have it. By the way, this is episode number 50. Don't know if you've been keeping track.
Holy crap.
Episode 50 hitting with our draft recap and some predictions. So that's going to be it. That's the Raw Meat Podcast.